Hello everyone. I haven't posted a video for a while since this whole quarantine started. It's not that I haven't skated, I have. I guess I didn't feel as safe carrying my camera around without paying attention to what's going on out there. Usually when I carry my camera around, I'm not skating as good as I am when I don't have it on. So I just wanted to be extra careful given that, the whole social distancing and all. And I wanted to be more aware of the pedestrians around me and if I needed to move, how to move strategically, all that stuff. I'm feeling a lot better about skating right now. So I do have my camera and I have my mask on, as you can see. I only wear it when there are pedestrians near me as I skate. The sidewalks in the city I live in are very narrow, so I have to be extra careful when running into pedestrians. Extra careful not to run into pedestrians. So during quarantine, I've experienced a bit of anxiety, to be honest. I try to skate when it starts coming up, but there were a few days here and there when it was raining, when I couldn't really skate, so I was kind of trapped inside. I tried to make the most of it. When I'm not skating, I try to entertain myself by playing an occasional video game here and there. I'm also working on learning how to use 3D modeling software, so that's been keeping me busy. I do occasionally binge watch stuff, not too much because I want to focus on learning the software. But yeah, I think also not being able to exercise as much brings anxiety. So here I'm doing a little bit of an exercise that I like to do in this area here at the school. It's a high school, by the way. I like to do this because I feel it helps with my stability and with, getting my hips moving and stuff. Inline skaters, we could develop weak hips, which can cause us to fall more often if we're not careful. So, I've been working on strengthening my hips. This exercise helps when I can do it when I go skate. I also do some other exercises while at home. So, we want to avoid weak hips. So that is a recommendation that I would make to you guys as well. Since I tore my MCL, I can't rely on my MCL as much as I used to in order to do those power stops, those drag stops. So when I do those power stops and drag stops, I try to focus on my hip muscles more than anything. So I avoid injuring it any further. But my recovery has been really great. And I think it's just being consistent with the physical therapy that helped a lot. So in this video, I wanted to focus on something that I think to become a good inline skater, street skater specifically, we have to constantly be asking ourselves what could go wrong. So kind of want to show you throughout the video about certain things that I do to ask myself what could go wrong. So especially when it comes to entrances and exits where cars can be, like right here I'm approaching somewhere where a car can come in, a car could leave. I try to look around, I look inside the cars to see if there's anybody in there, and I try to wait to see if any cars are coming from the street that could possibly turn into that area. It's common sense, but sometimes we get distracted while we're skating, and that tends to not help with our safety. Also, as you can see in the city I live in, the streets are very narrow, so I have to kind of squeeze in certain places. And it's not only that it's narrow, but a lot of cars park on the sidewalk. Here I'm approaching an area where there's a lot of sand. Sand isn't good for your bearings, so I try to kind of walk over that area rather than skate through it so that it doesn't get into my bearings. Okay, so now as you can see, I put my mask on because there is a pedestrian way off there. You probably can't see because it's a bit far, but she's coming up. So I try to kind of let her know beforehand that I'm going to be staying on that side, on whatever side I'm at. So, you know, the pedestrian walked away. Now I can take off my mask and continue skating. Okay, this is the park where I usually like to skate in. It's closed right now. Another thing, I thought that, you know, my jumps wouldn't be as good since I took a break from skating to heal from that injury, or, you know, just because of quarantine and the days it's been raining, but I find that my jumps have improved a lot. I do this thing when I jump where I fling my arms forward and keep the top part of my body tilted forward. I'll try to see if I do it a little later so I can show you. So here I'm practicing balancing on one foot. That's something I try to do a lot since I can't really practice my stride as much as I'd like to in these narrow streets. So I try to practice balancing on one foot as much as possible. Okay, now I'm going to be approaching a curb. I always ask myself when I'm approaching a curb, you know, what could go wrong? Hey, there could be somebody on the other side of that curb that I can't see. So I try to tilt my body, slow down a little bit to see if anybody is coming. And if they are coming, I want to give myself enough time and space to be able to either allow them to pass or to stop if needed. Okay, I'm approaching the street here where there's a lot of cars parked on the sidewalk, and it makes it difficult to just be able to skate. Also, the fact that there are so many cars parked in each house makes it difficult to see in between those cars which one is going to leave there's space there, so I have to be extra aware. So I'm better off skating on the street than on the sidewalk because of all the cars parked there. When I skate on the street like this, I try to make sure obviously that there are no cars coming, and if there is a car coming, I like to go to the sidewalk for a bit and kind of like just go around in a circle until the car passes or until I know that it's safe. And then I try to see when I could get back on the road. Or you see, I want to look behind me and in front of me as well. For the most part, I find it safer to skate on the side of the road where the cars are coming toward me rather than behind me, because I can see them coming. That's something that my brother, another inline skater, also brought to my attention, that hey, it's better to have the cars in front of you than behind you. And it makes sense because you can see what the car in front of you is doing rather than the one that's behind you, which you never know, could be distracted on their cell phone or just not paying attention. So it's better to see the car coming than have it behind you and kind of trust that they're paying attention. I would never assume that they're paying attention. So anyways, as I was talking about it earlier, I tried to start again being more consistent with my exercise routine. I was slacking a bit, especially because it was raining a lot and the whole quarantine and all. But you know, I started again and I feel a lot better, and I think that is one of the reasons why I had this anxiety that I couldn't pinpoint. Sometimes you cannot pinpoint what it is that's bringing you anxiety, so you have to try a bunch of different things to see what it is. Okay, so here I was in a situation where their car was parked on the sidewalk of a curb, so I couldn't see the car coming. So I asked them if I could please skate around just for my safety. They were really nice. Just, you know, they were not mean about it, right? And I appreciated that. So yeah, like I was saying, I try to now consistently do my exercise routine. I'm also not too hard on myself or punish myself for not doing it when, you know, I just maybe can't do it. So I know for a lot of people, their job situation has been difficult throughout COVID-19 and all. For me, I'm thankful to still have a job, but recently my job role did change. That's something else that brought me some anxiety, the uncertainty of knowing what's going to happen next. So I have been trying to adjust to the situation. It has made me question what I'm going to do about the future, where I'm headed. So I do have plans I'm working on. I'm really optimistic about it. But with any change, there is an adaptation period. So that has been something that I've been working on a lot during this quarantine. I'm sure it's the same for a lot of people as well, especially those that have lost their job. And if you're one of those people, I'm really sorry about that. That's a difficult situation. And I hope that you're able to find the resources you need and the support to be able to get back on your feet. And if you're watching this video, maybe you're a skater, and skating is definitely something that has helped me cope with anxiety. It is such a positive activity that is good for you. It brings so many good things with it. Okay, so when it comes to bus stops, I always like to kind of peek to see if there's anybody in the bus stop, because they could always get up and walk toward you, and then you might end up on the street. So you got to be careful with that. So yeah, I put my mask on because somebody was walking by. So yeah, like I was saying, a lot of things have shifted due to this quarantine and virus. There's still that concern, it hasn't gone away. We're all concerned about getting sick, but the world is changing. So, the world is changing and we're adapting as skaters. One thing that I have noticed is that a lot of people seem to be getting interested in inline skating or skating in general. I do have a neighbor that recently told me that they got skates and that they were skating now, which that was pretty awesome to hear. It's nice that, the world of inline skating is finally back on the spotlight. So, if I could avoid potholes, I try to avoid them. Sometimes there's no way you can avoid them, and you're safer jumping over them than avoiding them. Depends on whatever's on the other side. But if you are learning to inline skate, if you're a beginner, I would not recommend If you are an inline skater and you're a beginner, I would not recommend inline skating on the street unless you have gotten really efficient at stopping and just, get really used to your skates. The more you skate, the more efficient you will become as a skater. You don't have to start doing a bunch of tricks. You can just skate. And the more you skate, the more your skates are going to feel like an extension of yourself. Pretty soon, you're going to be as confident on your skate as you are walking on your feet. And I say this from experience. When I first started skating again, after so many years, I felt like I had to just focus on doing all these tricks. And what ended up happening was that I got injured. So it set me back for a couple of months. And then now that I'm back skating again, I realized that I just have to go out there and skate. I don't necessarily have to get into like all these 360 turns, and just being able to skate is good for you to become efficient. When your skates start feeling like an extension of your feet, then that's when you're going to be able to learn tricks a lot better. See what I did with my arms there? I kind of like push them, swing them forward, but also make sure that I stay low. Okay, so this is, what I wanted to talk about in this video was mostly keep a questioning attitude the whole time that you skate. Always ask yourself, what could go wrong? and find ways to avoid that thing from going wrong. This is especially true if you're a street skater. So this attitude is definitely going to make you a more competent skater. So as skaters, we want to be able to skate longer. And to do that, we have to avoid injuries. And we're going to have a lot more fun. And it's going to feel like a game. You know, you have all these obstacle courses and you have to be efficient at beating them. Alright, so I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And I hope that you've enjoyed skating a bit during this quarantine. If not, then if you don't feel safe, then that's okay too. Alright guys, happy skating. Peace.